Hello and welcome back to another episode of my MotoGP 21 career mode, and here we are for the 9th and 10th rounds of the season at Sachsenring, and I believe it's Assen after Sachsenring if we quickly have a look. Yes it is, so the week after it is Assen. I wasn't 100% sure on how the calendar was this year, if they'd been swapped back around again yet, or if Kimi Ring was in front of Assen, but no, it's Sachsenring and then Assen. Now, since the last episode, I accidentally advanced forward 1 week. I was trying to start the recording for this video, and I accidentally advanced forward 1 week, so that's why we've got another notification on the personal manager here. We've got another candidate applying, but it's only a B grade, so it's not a B+. Although, actually, in some areas, they're not too bad, but obviously on the one on the right-hand side, the searching for contracts, they were much worse. So we'll keep Alex Zucker there now, and we'll just try and hire him a little bit later on, when we're a bit closer to joining Moto 2. So I suppose the next thing we should do is head into the German Grand Prix, but I've heard that apparently at Sachsenring the AI are very bad and there is a lot of crashes there, so do expect that. It'll be a bit of a shame if the weekend is ruined by that, but I've heard that that does happen. Pretty much all the AI will crash at this circuit, so that is a shame, because in the last episode, actually, it was fantastic. There was no stupid crashes by any of the AI, really, and we actually had some really good racing out of it. Mugello, in particular, we had some fantastic racing with Darryn Binder, also obviously Sergio Garcia, and I think Suzuki was there as well, and then obviously in Catalonia, we did pull away at the end, but before that, we had to fight through the pack a bit. We had a good battle with John McPhee, so in the last episode, the AI were pretty good, so they might take a bit of a drop in this episode, I've heard, but it also might not happen to me. I think it's been happening to some people, not other people. So hopefully it doesn't particularly happen. Hopefully we can carry on this season without the crashes. So I'm in the middle of free practice here. And you can see the development test that we've actually got on the screen. Ignore the fact it's FP2 because FP1 was wet. So I didn't bother going out in there. Just fast forwarded to the next free practice session where it was dry. Just made a bit more sense. But one of the objectives actually is to do a clean lap with a long lap penalty. So a long lap penalty is actually something I've not shown off in the game yet so far. So I thought this would be a good chance to show it off. I actually don't know where it is at this circuit. So you can see I have just gone top of the session by a few tenths. So I'm going to brake nice and early for this turn 1. I think this must be the long lap. Oh! Yep, well that didn't go very well, did it? So first attempt at a long lap penalty. I think I will... hang on. Oh, I've got to pick up the bike, innit, first? I completely forgot about that. So yeah, I've got to pick up the bike. I'll have to give that one another go. So then, we're starting this again, and this time I actually want to get the long lap right, because I've not even done a long lap on this game yet so far. So you need to... Oh, I backed that in a bit too much. So you just got to go around this super slow, so you actually do control it. I thought in the pre-release stuff it kind of looked like it was an AI doing it, but no, you actually have to control it yourself. And that was actually quite tricky, to be honest. It's very narrow. And because I haven't really, you know, I've still not quite got the pinpoint accuracy on the bikes yet, that was actually quite difficult to do, to be honest. So now I need to try and do a pretty decent lap as well and get that valid, but that is a long lap penalty then. So at this track, well, that cost me, I'm 3 seconds down on my previous lap, so yeah, the long lap penalty works here. You lose about 3 seconds, even though it doesn't seem like it. It's just because it's so tight, you have to go through it really slowly. So out of the last quarter then, up towards the line. Is this going to actually be fast enough to achieve that objective? No, it actually wasn't, I don't think, so I've got to do it again. So up towards the line this time then, are we going to actually do it? Well, apparently not, but that should have been fast enough. 2.4, that's still under a 1 minute 32, so yeah, I think this one is bugged because I've done it twice now. I probably did it the first time as well, but it doesn't seem to be accepting my, you know, my clean lap with LLP, so I think I'll just end off this practice session now, then head into qualifying. But I've shown... Oh, okay, that time it told me I've served the long lap penalty. So the other times I must have not actually gone through it properly. So that must be what it is. So yeah, it's actually very difficult to do a long lap penalty. But there you go. That is the long lap penalty shown off now. First time I've actually shown it off in this game. So then, at the end of the session, we still were fastest in front of Darryn Binder by just over 1/10 of a second. I actually thought he was going to beat me, but he just stayed behind me there. McPhee then in 3rd place, 2 tenths back. Artigas in 4th place, also about 2 tenths back, and Alcoba in 5th. I'm not sure where the 2 IO bikes are. They seem pretty far down the order. You've got Acosta in 11th, and where is Yama Masia down in 19th? So the IO bike's a bit off the pace there then, but the 2 Petronas boys are right there. But time to head into qualifying now. That should take us straight through into qualifying 2. We'll be onto the soft tyres, but the left-hand side of the tyre gets absolutely beaten up at this track. I actually think we might have to go for a hard tyre this time. So the IO bikes really were off the pace, because you can see Acosta was right in the bottom of the people that got through Q2, and Masia actually had to come through Q1. So Masia, Foggia, Antonelli and Sasaki came through Q1 this time, but it seems like the IO bikes are definitely struggling here. So then we'll stick on a soft. I'm not too great, to be honest, at doing a flying lap around this circuit, purely because I just can't sort of keep the flow through the corners. It's not really my kind of track, to be honest, which is why the AI tends to be pretty close to me over the years. Although in the olden days, the AI just used to suck at this track. This was one of their worst tracks back in the day before the neural AI, so you used to beat them by ages, even though, to be honest, I wasn't very good at the track. It used to lead me to think I was good at the track, but I realised that AI just were particularly bad at that track. So up towards the line then, about to start it. We've got to do a 1 minute 30.0, apparently is what Garcia's done. Well, we were doing 28s in practice, so he needs to up his game a bit. There's been a crash, then Binder to crash in front of us, so yeah, it does seem like a couple of AI are going to crash at that penultimate turn then, because I've heard that's the corner where they tend to go down in the race. So through Queckenberg then, up towards the line. We are absolutely demolishing Garcia's lap here. Yeah, you can see 27.9, fastest we've gone all weekend, 2 seconds clear of him. Well, he's not going to stay second for very long, I don't think, but we'll head back to the pits. I'm pretty satisfied with that, to be honest, so yeah, we'll head back to the pits. Hopefully that is good enough for pole position. So yeah, it really was good enough for pole position, because I was 1.8 seconds faster than the AI. What is going on? They were doing low 28s in practice. Why are they doing high 29s and 30s in qualifying? What has happened? I've not changed the difficulty between the races or anything like that, or between the sessions. It's on 120 like it has been the whole season. But for some reason, they are 2 seconds off me at a track that is the shortest on the calendar. So that's not too good, but I'm guessing that's a little bit of a bug. But Masia and Acosta are actually second and third, so even though I said they've been struggling, they've still got on the front row, both of them. The Petronas boys a bit further behind, but I have no idea what's actually happened in this session, why they are so far behind. Perhaps they were just all crashing on their laps, so like their best laps were really slow, like their actual flying laps they were just crashing. I don't know, but I didn't do anything different than I normally do. Just did a lap and went back to the pits and fast forwarded to the end, so it's not like I just press end session or anything like that, because they get stuck with the times they set then. But yeah, I have no idea what's happened with that, so let's head into the race now then. I'm really hoping that they don't have these big crashes, but I'm also hoping that they up their pace a little bit, because they're miles off me at the minute. So medium is actually the recommended tyre. So I think, again, I will just go for it. I know I keep saying that, oh, I'm going to go for hard this race and change my mind, but I think if I just look after the tyres a little bit more, because I was pushing on in free practice because I was trying to do those long laps, but I wasn't going through the long lap penalty properly. I don't know how I wasn't. Maybe I was just going outside the white line, I'm not too sure, but that time I did it really slowly. It actually registered me doing it, so I'm guessing I was just doing it wrong before. Not quite sure what was happening with that, but hopefully I don't actually have to do the long lap in the race. But we finally experienced a long lap penalty on this game, because I've not actually been given one yet. I've not gone off the track enough times in any mode to actually get a long lap penalty, so that was my first time doing one. But we'll get this race started then. I really hope that they don't have loads of crashes in this race, but I've just heard that they do, so I've just got my fingers crossed that they actually stay on the bike and that they actually bring a bit more pace, because they were appallingly slow in that qualifying.
Everything is ready to go here at the Sachsenring, and concentration is at the max, because it's crucial not to lose positions early on this track.
It is crucial not to lose positions early. However, it's a very short run to the first corner, so if there's any race that we keep the lead off the line, this is probably going to be it. But waiting for the lights to go out then here. Lights out and away we go. We've got 3/10 of a Masia apparently now. Well, we've already lost the lead, so we haven't kept the lead going down towards the first corner. It seems like they've brought a little bit of something at least off the start. Anyway, I'm going towards a long lap penalty there into the first corner. We've got Acosta on the inside. I'm just being a bit wary of that, because of course we've had our collision with Acosta in a previous episode when he crashed and took me out. But Acosta then has just dropped back in behind us, so we're up to second place. He's back up the inside though through Omega. I've gone very, very wide. It's going to allow him to get underneath. I'm not going to be able to hang it around the outside here. It's going to be close. I actually have just managed to hang it around the outside, but Yama Masia is actually getting away at the front, so he's really turned his weekend round. He came through qualifying one, put it second place on the grid, is now leading the race. I definitely don't think he would have thought that, but look how overheated the rear tyre is already. This is why I was considering a hard tyre, but the game was still saying go from medium, so I trusted the game, which was probably a mistake. Oh, the front went then on that curb. I turned in a bit too early for that corner, lost the front on the curb. Don't know how I stayed on the bike, to be honest, but we got away with it this time. So we've got Masia then right ahead of us as we go down the waterfall through turn 11. I thought that was called the Ralph Waldman curve, but in any of the games, it's never called that. So I'll presume that that was just a colloquial name or something. Messia goes on the curb, and no! Oh, okay, they are going to crash, and we've just been absolutely wiped out by Pedro Acosta. Oh no! And look how many bikes are flying into the gravel. It seems like pretty much all the AI have crashed, but I've been taken down with them once again. So this has happened twice now this season that we've been taken out by an AI, and it's Acosta once again. Messia went on the curb and crashed. I was looking at that, and then Acosta's bike was flying in, takes me out of the race. So we're down in 24th, so most people must be out of the race. We're miles behind. It's a 7-lap race, but considering the amount of AI that just gone down in that corner, I wouldn't put it past us to still score some decent points, but once again, absolutely destroyed by an AI going into a corner, which, to be honest, it's probably not the end of the world, considering it's not fair on the AI that they're always going to crash and I'm going to not crash, but if they take me out, then I guess that balances the points a bit more, but we'll keep going. There'll probably be some more crashes, so I assume we'll probably get some more positions again. Oh, yep, Garcia's gone down out of the lead. Yep, Fallon's gone down. Koffler's gone down as well. Artigas is now leading the race. Garcia is still second. Fallon is still third, even after all those crashes. So I'm guessing most of the others have probably gone down as well. We'll see if anyone in front's got... Artigas has gone down. Garcia's gone down again. We've got Tatai in front of us has gone down. We're now up into 21st place as well. So there must have been some more retirements as we were riding out the gravel. I'm now up to 20th. So I think as they're retiring, I'm overtaking them rather than when I'm going past where they crashed. I think that's how it's working, because I'm not even getting to the point where they crash and I've gained position. So we're now up into 20th, so only 5 more in front need to come off. We're only 5 seconds behind. Well, actually, we're closing quite a lot to Onchu in front, actually. Like, a lot. I've done the fastest lap, which I guess makes sense, because I was the only one that didn't fall off. Yeah, you see, Onchu's right there, so we're only 3.5 seconds behind Dennis. He's probably got some damage or something, I would have thought, from his crash, because he's leaking so much time, even though he's not crashed anymore. He's back on the bike, and he's been going enough corners where he'd be back up to normal speed, so I'm guessing he must have some damage. So 19th is definitely on the cards. I think we should catch Dennis Onchu by the end of this race, even if he doesn't crash again. But I'm not putting it past the AI to not crash, because you can see, I mean, Fallon, Artigas and Koffler all crashed on the last lap and are still in first, second and third places. So, yeah, it seems like all the AI are going to crash every single lap. So we actually might get a situation where I'm the only one circulating at the end. But the rear tyre, super hot. Luckily, it's not going to matter at all, because I can just ride around at 2 miles an hour and probably still score some decent points. But we really are close up to Onchu. We're under 3 seconds behind it now. Fallon has gone down again then, you can see. Yep, so has Artigas, so has Koffler. So yeah, they're all crashing at that penultimate and final turn, it seems. But Fallon is still leading the race then. I'm now up to 19th, so Antonelli, my teammate's retired. I'm up to 17th now. Tatai's retired then as well, because of that. Onchu just fell off and got back on in front of us. So we actually are now in the pack. So even though they've crashed about 3 times, I've crashed once, that is the difference between the bike retrieval and not having the bike retrieval. We're up into 16th then now. Yamanaka just ahead of us. Rodrigo just in front of him. Another fastest lap of the race to myself, 28.6. But here is the pack. We're actually in the group now. Fallon is gone, if you can see on the map. He's gone from the rest. I don't think he fell off as many times in that last. I think he only crashed once, whereas the others all crashed twice. But we've caught right up to the back of the point scorers now. So we've got Yamanaka and Rodrigo, like I said before. So we can actually start trying to make some passes. I'll be honest, it's probably not worth doing, because I know they're going to go down again. But we have close right up to Yamanaka. I would be looking for a move ordinarily. Fallon's gone down, so like I said, yeah, Nepper's down, Koffler's down. And here we go down the hill. We're going to just watch them all do it. We watched Messia do it on the first lap. Here they go into the penultimate turn. Yep, there they go. They all go down. The exact same crash. They got on the cut. They lose the rear. All down. And now we're past Salach up into 9th place, because so many of them went down there through the last turn then. Someone's down here on the outside. It's Guevara. So we're up into 7th place. Now Riccardo Rossi about 3 seconds ahead of us. We're on lap 5. So we are getting to a point where there's not too many laps left, but Fallon is only about a corner ahead of me now, instead of being about 20... Well, he was about 25 seconds in front, wasn't he, at one point? I've picked up a track limits warning. Not that it particularly matters, because, I mean, I could do as many long laps as I want and still beat him, I think. Yep, Dupasquet's down. Garcia, Koffler are down as well. So I'm guessing Fallon must actually be out of the race now. Oh, there's all the bikes. Some of them are still crashing. There's Dupasquet right in front of us. So we're about to take 2nd position away from Jason Dupasquet. Riccardo Rossi now leads the race, but all the bikes, they just skittle in, because they all just cut that inside cut. They lose the rear. The bikes skittle across the track, and then they're right on the race line when you get there. But we are now up into second position, then 2.7 seconds behind Riccardo Rossi. So we should have this one in the bag, because I think we could beat Riccardo Rossi even if he doesn't crash, actually. It's going to be close, but I think I could probably catch him, because of course he's a bit of a lower tier AI and he probably has some sort of damage. So we should have this win now, because of course being back up into second, they're all crashing every lap, so we'll be able to pass him. But even if he didn't crash, I think we got a shot to what, we're 2.5 seconds behind him now, so we took about half a second out of him already. Here we go then, is Riccardo Rossi going to hit the deck? Yes he is. Down he goes, his bike to the outside of the track, there we go, up into the lead of the race. And it should be a pretty easy win from here, because of course they're all going to crash. We've already got 5 seconds over Dupasquier in second. Seems weird that every time there's a race where everybody crashes, Dupasquier ends up on the podium. Onchu is actually up into 8th place now, so Onchu was right at the back with me at the first lap, and he's actually got his way back up into 7th place now as well, so even though he's been crashing every lap, he's been picking off a lot of people. I guess it's because so many are probably out of the race now. I don't even know how many are left, we'll have to see at the end, but I'm guessing it probably is only about 7. So through the final corner, you can see that riders behind are all crashing once again. Dupasquier seems to get second place there as we come up towards the line then. Another win, but such a weird circumstance to win a race under. So then, 4 of us finished. I won. 10 seconds in front of Dupasquier, who was about 8 seconds in front of Artigas, who was about 20 seconds in front of Onchu. This race was ridiculous. It was a bit stupid. Actually, to be honest, I probably should have just retired from the race. That probably would have been the best decision. But I didn't know, like, if, you know, Darryn Binder will be like the last AI to crash and get 25 points or something like that, because the AI will still score points to these positions, but it's so stupid that this is happening. There was a similar bug in MotoGP 20, where they used to crash at the final turn, but they fixed that before I actually ever got to Sachsenring, so I never experienced it. But how can this be happening? This is... I thought Portimao was bad, but this is so much worse. So in the championship then, now I have 63 points over Darryn Binder in second, 82 ahead of Masia in third, 109 now in front of Suzuki in fourth, 120 in front of Garcia in fifth. Acosta moves ahead of McPhee. Dupasquier moves himself back up into the top 10 again. So he put himself really high up, dropped slowly down, and now there's been another crazy race. He's put himself back up. I suppose the team championship, it's helped us out quite a lot, because we've now got 25 points over Petronas instead of just the 1 that we had before. So yeah, a little bit more of a decent gap for us, but they'll close that up without too many issues, I think. Prustal GP moving themselves back up a few positions as well. Every time this is be a chaotic race, Prustal sort of always benefit from it, but this is so stupid that this is happening. It's ruining a championship, really, because there's no way I can really lose it now, unless I sit out of a few races to try and balance it out, and potentially if that happens in Moto2 as well, I will. I think if there's races where all the AI crash, I'll probably just retire. But we'll head to the career hub now then. We'll end off this weekend, head into the next one at Assen. Hopefully they don't crash so badly there, but this was the worst I've ever seen. So then, that weekend we gained 10,500 reputation, which takes us up to 83,050. And once again we gained 6,158 credits, which takes us up to 86,007. But of course, this is where it counts really, the research data for actually upgrading the bike. You can see we actually only did 3 of the objectives this time, because we had Tool of the Trade again, which at Sachsenring is definitely the worst track to get it at, because how are you going to do 100 kilometers of Sachsenring realistically? I mean, it's so far. Clean lap with long lap penalty. Of course, I couldn't do a long lap penalty to save my life, so I couldn't do it. I thought it was bugged to start with, but then when I finally went through it properly, I realised I was doing it wrong. And the race pace again, I didn't really have the time. Similarly to the last video, I don't really have that much time, so I don't want to spend too much. So I don't want to spend all my time on practice, because I haven't really got that much time. But we've got 2,292 on the engine, and now 1,185 on the frame. I reckon we're probably about done on both of those. I don't think we're really going to need much more, but we've now got some notifications on the personal manager, so we've got a couple of new teams interested apparently. I think it was the Intact GP and Pons, I think it was, they'll scroll past. They had the little orange things next to them, so yeah, you can see, yeah, it says they've gone up, so Pons and Intact GP are now interested, so it's only the top few teams in Moto2 that don't want us, so Mark VDS, Rebel KTM IO, Sky Racing, Italtrans, but really, if you were dominating a Moto3 championship like this, those are probably the 4 teams that would really want you. And then you can see on the personal manager, we've got another new candidate, Emily Walsh. So she's actually pretty good in some areas, so it might be worth keeping her on, because yeah, she's got slightly lower rating than this other guy, but overall her stats are pretty similar actually, so not too bad. But there's nothing we can do on the headquarters, so the next thing to do is going to be to head into Assen. Gotta hope that the AI don't crash like that again, but I'll see you at the end of practice. We'll probably do pretty well there, because the AI over the years have not been great at Assen. So then, I've only actually done 2 laps in practice so far, but that completes majority of the practice programs, to be honest, if we have a quick look at them. So once again, we've got race pace, but I'm just kind of ignoring that one because it just takes quite a long time. Obviously, you have to do 5 laps, and the race is already about that long anyway, so I don't really want to do a race distance in practice. And we're currently sat second in this session, so that should get us through to qualifying 2 without any troubles. And first rider as well. We can't actually do that till the qualifying anyway. I have to out-qualify and beat my teammates, so I've done basically all the ones I can do in free practice, so we'll head into qualifying now. You can see McPhee actually is fastest, so the AI actually are good at Assen, which is a little bit strange to be honest, so we'll have to see how that pans out. I tell you what, we've dropped to 11th now, we're 7/10 off what the top AI have done. I need to go back out again. I've got to do some more laps, because I'm not going to get through to qualifying 2. So up towards the line then. So still not quite top of the session there. We improved by quite a lot. But we're 5 thousandths away from Darryn Binder. If we'd done the last chicane a little bit better, perhaps, I would have found that. So hopefully this time actually is enough to get through to qualifying 2. So I'll see you at the end of this session. So, to my surprise, really, the AI seems to be bringing it here at Assen. Because honestly, that was a pretty good lap when I did that 44.5. I thought that was pretty much mistake-free. So there's definitely some places to improve for me. So I think pole position might be off the cards again here, a bit like it was in Catalonia. But we'll have to see, because if it's anything like the previous race at Sachsenring, the AI will be about 2 seconds slower than they were in practice for some reason. So we'll head into qualifying 2 now, and hopefully I can try and fight for pole. So that time did stay second quickest through FP3 then, and you can see coming through qualifying 1 is Guevara, Foggia, Sasaki and Nepa. So it is nice to see that the AI have some pretty good pace at Assen. It's definitely a change from previous games and obviously previous races that we've had as well so far this season. Obviously the last one being a main example where they were so slow in qualifying for some unbeknownst reason. They were just so far off the pace. I have no idea why. But let's head onto the track now and hopefully we can try and set a pole position. So currently it's actually Fenati that's top with a 45.7, but I know they can go a bit quicker than that because we were in the 44s in the last session. If it's anything like Sachsenring, they will be miles off what they did in free practice. So coming up towards the line then, what's this time going to be? 2.3 seconds quicker than Fenati, 43.4. That is a pretty quick time. I'll have to see if the AI can respond to that, but that was actually a really good lap. I really didn't make any mistakes that time. I thought my FP2 lap was good, but that was even better. So then it's pole position by 1.1 seconds out of Yama Masia in second. I thought the AI were going to be right with me, but they actually weren't, so a whole second slower than me. It's weird how big of a difference it was between free practice and qualifying in both of these, although I think, to be honest, their times are still pretty similar, but my time is a lot faster. I think Assen is definitely one of those tracks where having a softer compound tyre just gives you seconds a lap, because it's all about carrying the speed through the corners, and if you've got more grip, you can just go get on the power so much earlier, you gain so much time. So perhaps some of the AI's times in free practice were done on soft tyres, whereas mine were done on mediums. But we've taken yet another pole position. Darryn Binder is looking pretty far down the order, he's down in 10th position, so our main championship rival, all the way down in 10th. That's what I like to see. So let's get this race started then. Can we bring home another victory? I really hope so. So then Masia second place on the grid, McPhee in third. So McPhee, over the last couple of races, has been pretty decent. Obviously, if you forget Sachsenring, which all of the AI were appalling in, so you can't really say anything bad about McPhee in that race, because everybody fell off about 1 million times. So we're looking at one of the Idemitsu bikes there, but then we're looking at myself on pole position. So yet again, another pole position. It seems that yet again, in Moto3, the AI struggle a lot with qualifying. It was kind of like that in MotoGP 20 as well. Like, actually, in some of the other classes, like MotoGP, the AI were pretty good in qualifying, but in Moto3, they really weren't very good, and that allowed you to get pole position, and you can sort of pull away, but it certainly seems like the AI do struggle a bit in qualifying, especially compared to free practice. I mean, we saw it in Sachsenring. I think here, though, it was more that I found pace, but the AI didn't find any, so that's a little bit weird that I found like a second and they found nothing. So it definitely does show that there's areas to be improved, even despite the whole crashing issue. There definitely needs to be a little bit more consistent between sessions. But let's actually start the race now. Hopefully we can try and get a win. Hopefully there's a good battle for it as well, but I kind of doubt it.
Just a few moments to go until the Grand Prix begins. Assen, the cathedral of motorcycle racing, is once again ready to put everyone to the test.
So then on pole position, we've got Masia and McPhee alongside Garcia as well on the row behind. So he's going to probably get off to a pretty good start. But waiting for the lights to go out here at Assen. Lights out and away we go. My launch off the line probably wasn't too great. Yeah, Masia's gone past us just like a Sachsenring. Same with McPhee as well. Try and get in one of their slipstreams as we go down towards the first corner. Suzuki is on the inside as well, so going to try and break as late as possible through the first corner. But Suzuki makes a pass on us as well, so down to 4th place. Off the line we've got Garcia up the inside as well. Garcia trying to muscle it up the inside. I think he's got it done actually. So we are going to drop in behind Garcia, and I've got a little bit wide as well, so that's definitely going to cost me even more time. So I think Acosta, that is, now on the inside. Being a bit wary of Acosta because he's taken me out twice this season now. But through Strubben, then we all go a little bit wide. Acosta went extremely wide there. Toba getting on the inside of Acosta, but unfortunately I wasn't able to gain anything on Garcia and Suzuki ahead of me. It seems like I just don't have the power compared to the amount of these really, really slow corners sometimes. If I carry the speed through, I'll get the run on them, but out of the really tight hairpins, they seem to get a bit more of an advantage in the rear. Really went through the chicane there, but we're close up to the back of Garcia. Now we're going to look up the inside, but that was going to be risky, so I had to back out of that one a little bit through the second valve. And you can see Acosta is all over the back of me, so he's got back in front of Kaito Toba. You can see Garcia is trying to make the move here on Tatsuki Suzuki for 3rd place into the bolt then. Oh, that was risky. Yes, it was. And Garcia goes down ahead of us. This time it wasn't some weird AI sort of glitch. It was, well, I guess it was a little bit weird AI behaviour, him trying to make that pass on Suzuki there very, very tight, but just a failed pass there from Garcia takes him out of the race. You can see John McPhee in the lead is actually getting away, and that's not what I want. It's a bit like Catalunya. Once again, I get off to a bad start. McPhee has got the pace. He's going to try and check out. You can see we've got Yama Masia in 2nd place. Suzuki was kind of harassing him through the previous section. But as we go down towards the chicane now, if we can try and take this a little bit better than the AI, they go a little bit defensive on the way in. I've cut that inside so much. Track limit's warning there. I slowed down to not gain the advantage out of it. I don't know how I got that turning so wrong. That was so poor, but you can see I'm going to lose so many positions now down towards the first corner. You got Toba on the inside, you got Acosta as well, you got Darryn Binder. I'm trying to hang it around the outside 3rd gear, probably not the best gear to be in, but we've lost the place to Acosta, we lost the place to Binder, bit of contact with Binder, kind of pushed me off the track again, and that's allowed Toba to come on the inside. I've got another track limits warning. That one is a little bit unfair, to be honest, because I kind of got a bit forced wide, lost a load of time, and we're now down to 9th place all of a sudden. But I'm going to go back up the inside of the 2 Cressinis, into the side of Rodrigo. That was a bit over the line, but Rodrigo is going to keep the position, so not the end of the world. But we've been very scrappy in this race so far. It's not been great. I'm going to have to try and get my head down, because John McPhee is 2 seconds in front of us now. There we go, they're looking for a move on Rodrigo. Oh, we got Alcoba on the inside as well. Oh, the AI being so aggressive here at Assen. So I love this. There's some really good racing here. But we've been held up a little bit by Rodrigo. We're going to have to try and go around the outside of him. Can we do it? We're not going to run out of road, are we? A little bit. So we're still behind Gabby Rodrigo, but we are closing up to the little group in front, so that's not too bad. You can see, I think Masia's just gone for the lead, and there's been a crash. Who is it? Oh, there's loads of them down at the bolt. So many down at the bolt there. I was looking to see which one of the leaders it was that crashed, and then about 3 just crashed out in front of me. One of them being Darryn Binder, I think, as well. So it looks like Tatsuki Suzuki got through. I think they went about 3 wide into the bolt there from the leaders. Might have to have a look at that on the replay to see what happened, because I completely missed all those crashes, even though they happened right in front of me. I'm still trying to get past Jeremy Alcoba here, side by side with him through Hodger Hyder. Are we going to be able to keep it around the outside through turn 14? It's going to be brave. Yes, we do. So we just get in front of Jeremy Alcoba. Kaito Toba just ahead of us now. So we need to try and pass Toba as soon as possible through the chicane, then trying to get the good run. We've actually done it properly this time. That's kind of what I wanted to do on the last lap. Here we go then, up towards the line. Fastest lap to Tatsuki Suzuki. Bit quicker than me. Side by side with Kaito Toba though. Are we going to get the move done down towards the first corner? Yes, we are. So back up into the podium spots. But now we've got a big gap. 1.6 seconds to John McPhee, 1.2, 1.3 seconds to Tatsuki Suzuki to the bridge. So we need to try and make that gap up if we can. But we have got to watch out through the bolt, because it seems like the AI are making some mistakes there. Into the bolt again, then McPhee is going on the inside. Oh, he made it stick on Suzuki there, so no crash for the 2 in front, fortunately. So I don't know whether maybe they're just crashing when they're making kind of botched passes, but a good pass from McPhee, but it is costing them time. You can see they're still going side by side. We're only a second behind now, so we made a couple of tenths up there, because honestly, we weren't catching them before that. They'd had a pretty good sector so far. They're still side by side. Cost each other so much time. They're only 8 tenths in front of me now. And I've just put 7 tenths into Kaito Toba as well. They're still side by side. They're still going at it. McPhee goes back ahead once again. So this is an extremely good battle for the lead here. But they're just letting me catch so much time up to them. Fastest lap of the race to myself. I think McPhee had just done the fastest lap there, but I took it away from him. So we've halved the gap now. We're only 6 tenths behind. We've got 3 laps to go. We've got lap 4, lap 5 and lap 6. So we are definitely still within a chance of this victory. But this race has been so strange. Obviously, so many riders washed out in front of us on that second lap of the race. Obviously, Garcia crashed trying to make a pass. I think it was on Suzuki, wasn't it? The lap before. We've closed right up as we go through Strubben. I'm a little bit wide. So we lost a little bit of time to them there. We've got 1.2 seconds back to Suzuki now. So we're fairly safe to... Not Suzuki, sorry, to Toba. Suzuki's in front of us. So we've got a decent-ish gap back to Toba. The two in front are still battling, so we can sit tight for now. But yeah, on that second lap, obviously there was a crash for loads of riders in front of us, including Yama Masia. I think Acosta went down as well. Obviously, Darryn Binder seemed to go down. I think it was also Gabby Rodrigo, wasn't it? I think that's the four that washed the front out. You can see McPhee goes a bit defensive this time to stop Suzuki from going up the inside, so no such mistake on this lap, although there's been a crash from behind for Alcoba, and Miño's down, and Guevara as well, so it seems like there is a corner on this track. It is the Bolt where they seem to crash a little bit. Again, they go side by side though. The AI, I've got to say, are battling each other fantastically. In previous games, you would never have seen this. They could not go side by side to save their lives, but this time they can, and it's cost them. It's cost them in the biggest fashion, because look how much we are gaining on them now. I might be able to make a move on these two into the chicane, you know. We're looking around the outside of Tatsuki Suzuki, side by side with him, down towards the chicane up the inside. So we've taken second position away from Tatsuki Suzuki now. Another track limits warning, so we've got to be careful. We've only got two left. So it's very difficult on this circuit to make it perfectly, but we've got 2 laps to go, 2 track limits warnings to go. We could end up with a long lap penalty. I could end up with a long lap penalty if I'm not careful. McPhee put a few attempts into me because of that, because I didn't get the best exit. But I'm hoping that I can try and pass John McPhee. I need to try and just be careful through the last chicane, because that's when I'm picking up all my track limits warnings. Of course, we got one when we got edged off the circuit with Darryn Binder. We had a little bit of contact. I sat the bike up just to not take him out or anything, and I got track limits warning for that. But we're looking at the inside now through Strubben on McPhee. We're going to power mode 3. A little bit of a wheelie out the corner, actually. So going into power mode 3, not the best decision there, but we're right behind John McPhee. Are we going to be able to make a pass into this chicane? I think we are going to the left-hand side of John McPhee. One Brit goes round the outside of another. We take the lead here at Assen for the first time since the very beginning of the race. But McPhee back up the inside with a Ruskin hook. Fair play to John McPhee. He's back through once again. Perhaps we'll have to have a look into the Bolt, because that seems to be an AI weak point. We've had a really good run out the second valve. Here we go, side by side. We've already passed him before we even get to the Bolt, edging him out towards the edge of the track. Although he's gone in very deep, he goes around the outside, and he pulled that one off perfectly. Suzuki hits the deck though. Suzuki behind hits the deck. Somebody else went down as well, Artigas Antonelli. So yeah, it actually does seem like they're a bit bugged there, but luckily John McPhee so far has stayed on in this race, so it's going to be a battle between me and McPhee. We've got almost 2 seconds back to Toba now, so I don't know what's happened to Toba. He seems to have lost a lot of time, but we're right behind McPhee. We hit McPhee at the back. He went so through that section, side by side with John McPhee. Onto power! What's happened there? We've crashed! What has happened there? What was that? That was the strangest crash I've ever seen, but we've gone down out of this Dutch TT. Contact with John McPhee, and we're going to be out of the points for sure here. What happened there? That was absolutely crazy. Running to the bike here. We're gonna get nothing out of this race. He's taken ages to pick up the bike as well. I have no idea what's happened here. We got back on the bike, 24th position behind Istahar. We're facing the wrong way as well. I got to be careful I don't get disqualified trying to turn this bike around. But what was that? We had some contact with John McPhee, and down I go. Looks like McPhee's going to win then. Toba second, Fenati third. I'd love to know where Darryn Binder is. We got another track limits warning for that. Even though obviously I just went a little bit wide as I was trying to sort of come back on the circuit, but unbelievable. This has been such a scrappy race for me. I thought it was going to be the comeback as well. I thought we were going to get a victory here at Assen, you know, the Cathedral of Speed, but no, we had that contact with John McPhee, and McPhee is going to get his first win of the season. So through the final turn then, coming up towards the line, that's the best we've taken that chicane the entire race. But it's going to be 23rd position after such a strange crash with John McPhee. So in the end then, John McPhee actually won 3 seconds ahead of Romano Fenati in second place. Suzuki ends up in third despite his crash. So pretty good result there for Suzuki. Fourth then for Acosta. I think he crashed as well, didn't he? Foggia then ended up in fifth. De Pasquier again another top 10 finish. So every time there's quite a few crashes, De Pasquier does a pretty good job. I finished really far down the order in 23rd, but I think Darryn Binder retired. Yes, he did. Same with Garcia and Masia. So overall, we've lost no points to Darryn Binder. We're going to have lost a hefty amount to Suzuki, of course, but it's a shame. It definitely was an opportunity to extend by another 25 points, but we haven't lost anything to Darryn Binder, so it's not the end of the world. So in the Riders' Championship then now, obviously the top 2 stayed the exact same. In fact, the top 3, because none of us in the top 3 in the Championship have scored. I actually forgot that Suzuki was now 4th position in the Championship. So we've still got 63 points ahead of Binder, 82 ahead of Mercia, 93 ahead of Suzuki, and 104 now in front of John McPhee. So McPhee has obviously gained quite a big amount on us there. In the Teams Championship, we're now tied with Petronas Sprinter Racing for the lead in the Teams Championship, because neither of my other teammates could actually bring home any points, unfortunately, so that's not ideal. Obviously Petronas, McPhee won the race. We were 25 points in front, so we are now tied 30 points ahead of Red Bull KTM IO and 68 in front of 658, and Proust will actually move up again up into 5th place, only 89 points off the lead now. So I'm going to take a quick look at a couple of those crashes to see what happened, because I don't know what happened when those lot all dropped out in front of me, and then I want to see what happened with me and McPhee, because we had some contact and it just made me tuck the front and just veer off to the right, so I'd love to know what happened. So if we look here at Mercia, then he was side by side with McPhee going into this corner, and he just rode onto the grass and like pretty much took McPhee out, and you can see all those guys skittling in. Let's see what happened with them. But Mercia rejoined very dangerously there. He was looking to, well, I was about to say he was lucky to not get knocked off again, but he did get knocked off again, so that'll be why he retired. And Binder took out Acosta. You can see here he did the exact same thing that Mercia did, turned it too early onto the grass, sort of just lost the front because of that, and sort of crashed his bike, then took out Acosta. Looking at Acosta, see Binder just loses the front. Oh, that was really unlucky for Acosta. That's actually pretty similar to what happened to me and Acosta in Le Mans. And you can see Rodrigo in the background, he made a pass on somebody and did the same thing. So it just seems like when they were making a pass, they were tucking the front on the grass. In fact, Rodrigo wasn't even making a pass, he was just trying to take a tight line, and he got into the grass, and that's why he fell off. So that's why all those guys in front of us fell off. So yeah, it was just such a weird crash. I was side by side with McPhee here, you can see. He was going super slow, so I was on the inside here. And it almost looks as if like I'd already crashed before I touched him, but that... Oh yeah, okay, no, that wasn't the case. I just lost the rear a little bit. But McPhee didn't leave me enough room. He was edging me out towards the curb. So as I've tried to then sort of back out of this move, because I could see he's edging me towards the curb, we've just had a major accident. I mean, my rear wheel's come off the ground, and then we've had contact, and it's just completely sent me over to the right-hand side, made me wash the front. So, yeah, I would say that John McPhee definitely caused that accident by just not leaving enough room when I was alongside. In fact, I was in front of him at this point. So yeah, unfortunately, McPhee just kind of edging over into me completely, like not leave. I mean, he had the whole track to use, but he uses the same piece of track I'm on. And he just takes me down. So, yeah, again, that's the third time now we've been taken out by an AI this season, and the second time this episode, but fortunately, none of my championship rivals actually finished the race either, so it wasn't really the end of the world. So after looking at those incidents then, we'll head into the career hub now and end off the episode, but what an eventful one it has been. So unfortunately, not much reputation gained there, only 1,025, which takes us up to 84,075. And of course we're not going to get any credits, because we didn't get the race position. But we did get majority... We got majority of the objectives here. We didn't get first rider, actually, because one of my teammates must have beaten me after I got knocked off. But we were well on course to get that one until McPhee decided he didn't want me to exist anymore. But we have now got 2,667 on the engine, 1,435 on the frame. I think that should be enough. I need to obviously start doing the maths now to figure out if I need to actually do any more practice programs, because I think we have pretty much enough research data to fully upgrade the bike now. So yeah, I just took a brief look there. We actually do have enough research data to fully max out the bike now, so no more practice programs are needed, of course. So it is just focusing on the reputation and the money at the end of all of the races now, though. But what an interesting episode. Obviously, Sachsenring and Assen were both chaotic for the same reason, for the loads of crashes. Sachsenring was a multitude worse, of course, with every single AI crashing every lap. But honestly, it's just so strange. The AI are so erratic and they just don't care. But like I was saying in Assen, it's good that they can sort of battle each other now a little bit. Obviously not into the bolt, they can't battle each other there, we've witnessed that, but around the rest of the track, sort of into that long right-hander afterwards. I mean, Suzuki and McPhee were going side by side through there every lap, banging fairings. It was actually really good to see that the AI could have a decent battle. They could also just decide to push off the track when they want to as well, but that's always been a thing, really. It's just that the physics are a little bit more... They're a little bit more realistic, and when there's collisions, they're a little bit funky in this game. They're a little bit strange, but it's always fun to have a little curveball like that. Doesn't really matter, hasn't impacted me in the championship, of course. But that's pretty much half of the first season done. It's been very chaotic, I think is the answer, just like this episode. But I hope you guys have enjoyed that one. I don't really have anything else to say about it. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you're staying safe, and I shall see you in the next one.